even at 50% of their income going to taxes, they still were incredibly wealthy. And even after, that 50% in taxes, a lot of them were actually wealthier than people in the second estate. So it should be very easy to see why this group will become very frustrated, because they don't have any privileges. They don't get away with anything. They are held to a very strict standard, and they don't understand why that is. So they believe they should have power. Think about it. They go, I'm a business owner. I've done well. I help the economy. I'm important to this country. I'm educated, but my voice doesn't matter. My voice does not matter in the government. So this group here, they're going to be very, very frustrated when it comes down to things, because they understand the Enlightenment. They understand that they don't get anything really out of the government that the Enlightenment fought for. So don't be surprised when this group becomes very involved in securing changes for the people. So group 2 of the third estate is known as the urban lower class, and they live exactly where they sound like they live. Urban. They live in the city. Most of these people live in the city of Paris, okay? And there are a lot of them. There are millions of them living in Paris, and their life is incredibly different from the bourgeoisie. They are not wealthy. They are not living, a good life despite having taxes and things like this. They are not having anything that they need given to them. So this group here is significantly poorer than the bourgeoisie, and I mean significantly. They are living in really filthy conditions. They're not, they're not able to get things for themselves. They need to survive. They usually have jobs that no one else wants. So they're going to be people like street sweepers that are cleaning up just the nastiness of the cities. They're hopeful that they can become servants in a wealthy person's home, but the problem is there are millions of them looking for jobs and not that many jobs available in wealthy homes. So this group here is going to struggle. When they do find jobs, if they're lucky, those jobs are usually paid not real well. They're actually very underpaid. So, living in a city presents all of its own problems. Their cost of living is more, food is more expensive, and it will be very expensive as time goes on. So this group is going to struggle. They really are going to be living kind of in like we would compare to like slums today. This group here really has a very difficult time surviving, and it's not like they could just go out and grow food they needed because they lived in the city. You see disease being very prevalent in these areas, and it all makes sense when you look at it. There's no sewer systems. These people are literally out running around the filth of humanity in the cities here. So that's group number 2, and then that leaves us with group number 3. And these are known as the peasants, okay? And the peasants are going to make up the rest of this estate, the third estate. Their population is about 80% of the third estate. That comes out to about 20 million people. So 20 million people of the 26 in this country are considered peasants. And they're exactly what they sound like. They're living in the country. They're living in smaller villages, smaller towns, not necessarily in the middle of the city. Some do live in the city, but these are kind of spread out all over the country. And here's the thing. They don't really make a lot of money. They work on those farms that the nobles own, and they get underpaid there, but they still have that really high tax rate. So because they're in the third estate, they still have to pay 50% of their income in taxes. So what little money they make is taken down even further to the government. This group is also extremely religious. They are very devoted to the Catholic Church. I think of it this way. Everything else could be taken away from them. Their rights, their material items, that stuff could be taken away from them. But their faith, their religion could not. So they're very, very devoted to their religion. And because of that, they always want to ensure that they are, giving their tithings or their tithes to church. For those of you that don't know what that is, those are essentially donations that you make to your church. This group here will basically go without things just to make sure that they can, donate to their church because they, like I said, they're very devoted. What is going to happen, though, is that over time, they're going to start to become more knowledgeable in the Enlightenment as well and understand that things are really unfair for them. They're going to see, people in the first and second estate, even people that they trust at church, getting, these privileges that they just don't have any access to. And they start to understand how grossly unfair that is. So this group is going to be learning a lot through the Enlightenment. They're going to be learning that there's power in numbers, and they finally start to figure out like how many of them there are. So with this, we're definitely going to see some big changes coming out of the peasant class.